Have you ever walked into a room in your home and thought, it's nice, but it feels like something is still missing? Welcome to GA Atelier, the podcast where intentional interior design meets mindful living. I'm your host, Jihan Askar, and I'm here with you on this journey to transform our living spaces into sanctuaries that reflect our unique story, personality, style, and lifestyle, while elevating our everyday life at home. So step inside my design workshop and let's design your home together. So let's start with a little story. I was recently in a homeowner's house and she wanted to show me her living room, and she was saying that she needed something to change there. She had invested in gorgeous furniture, carefully chosen the colors. She even had artwork that she loved. But when we walked into the living room, she didn't necessarily feel that it was complete. Something was missing. And when I walked in there, I immediately knew what was missing. It was immediately clear to me. Everything was there. Everything was nice. Nothing was wrong. But something was missing. So this might have happened to you too. You've carefully selected your furniture, you chose a beautiful color palette, you invested in beautiful pieces, but yet again, something still feels unfinished. It doesn't feel as elevated as you envisioned it to be. That's pretty common. It's something we can experience when designing our homes. We see that they look beautiful. Everything has been thoughtfully chosen. But again, something still feels off. It's almost there, but not quite. And like I said, this feeling is quite common. The answer is usually not about design, technically. It's about styling. Styling is that final layer, the finishing touches that transform a space from simply being furnished and beautiful to feeling intentionally curated. Without it, a space can feel flat, lacking personality, lacking movement. Again, it feels unfinished. Even when all the big design choices have been made and they've been made correctly, quote unquote correctly, there's still that layer that is missing. So I want to just stop and explain a little bit, in my opinion, how I see styling in comparison, especially with decorating and designing. So designing is the very big picture, the structure, the architectural maybe features of a house, the big choices that you have to make to design a space and the finishes that you have to select. Decorating is also about the bigger pieces in design, and it's usually about adding things to a space. You're adding art, accessories, decor pieces, textiles, objects. But styling for me is more about curating. It's the placing of these objects, layering and arranging them so they feel collected and connected to each other. How do you group them? Do you want to create tension or harmony between them? How do you balance them? So you style the decor pieces that you have, but you're paying more attention to the scale, the shape, the texture, the color of these objects in relation to each other. They are all forming a movement, a visual movement that you can experience. So a decorated space can still feel unfinished if styling hasn't been approached with intention. You can have beautiful decor pieces, but if they're not styled, the space will have that almost there feeling. And this is how I like to look at it. So think of a well-designed space like a beautifully tailored outfit. You have the foundation, the design of the interior. Like I said, from the architecture to the layout, the finishes, the color palette. It's like the clothing itself, the outfit. It forms the structure of the look. Now, decor is like the jewelry, the accessories that you can add to that outfit, the finishing details. Then styling is how you take it a step further with the details, how you put everything together. From the outfit to the accessories, you add interest, personality, movement, depth. You are creating a visual story. You play around with the accessories, and you don't want to always, wear the same stuff exactly. So it could be the same outfit, but you accessorize in a different way. But styling isn't just about adding more decor necessarily. It could be adding, removing, or just rearranging. And this is, again, with the analogy of the outfit, it's what makes the difference between an outfit that is simply put together and one that feels effortlessly chic because you've styled it in that way and you can play around it in that way. So one of the biggest challenges, I think, with styling is that it's so subtle. It's almost imperceptible. It's an art of placement. It's not about making big, obvious choices necessarily or changes. It's about refinement, how objects interact with each other, how they make the space feel. And this is why styling can be difficult to do, especially when we get used to looking at the same decor pieces in our homes. We get used to looking at the space in a certain way. So it's not necessarily that you have to go and find new decor or the right decor. It's about knowing how to arrange and layer that decor in a way that enhances the space rather than overwhelm it. You have to understand proportion, negative space, how objects interact with one another, and also knowing when to stop. When a space has reached its most refined state, this is when you want, okay, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to change, add, or move things around anymore. You don't want the space to feel forced or overly staged. When styling is done well, it's almost invisible. You can't really tell. You can't put your finger on it. It's not about making a space look styled, that you come in and like, oh, this is very, again, staged or styled. It's about making it feel effortlessly put together. Just feels natural. So I am actually going to offer a styling hour soon. So this offer will be up probably in the next week or so. So if you want to be the first to know, get on my email list and you will get an email about that. But in the meantime, you can grab one of the links in the show notes and you can either take the quiz to figure out your style, or you can actually, for a limited time, access my Live by Design workshop that I recorded recently. And you can grab that link in the show note as well. And that will get you also on the list. But anyway, back to styling. So bringing it all together. So if you've ever stood in a room and thought, okay, something is missing, but I don't know what because it's so subtle, chances are it's the styling. The space doesn't need necessarily more things. It needs more refinement and curation, the placement, the balance, the finishing touches of the objects that you have. And what I really like to do actually when I'm styling a space is to work with the pieces that a client already has, especially if they love them. I encourage them to get all the pieces from around the house that they're willing to change their locations, and even get some pieces that might be even forgotten. Maybe they've put them away in a box and didn't think they fit or they work, but they still like them. So I like to see what they have first, because it also gives me an idea of what they like. And if they don't like something, then this is a good opportunity to also get rid of what you don't like. And then I see what they don't like, and then we avoid getting a piece that is similar. But it gives me a good idea of what they have and what we could use before we go and buy new stuff, for example. So if you're just looking at your stuff in a different location, when you change an object's location, you can bring new life to that object and the space it is in now. It just brings new energy to that space and to the object as well. You start seeing it again. So it's not always about adding or buying more. It's about editing, refining, and bringing a level of intentionality. And when you're working with the pieces that are there and maybe add just a couple more, it makes the space feel like an extension of you, a reflection of you, because these are pieces that you like. Styling is what gives a space its rhythm. It guides the eyes with a narrative, and it shapes the way we experience the room. It just takes it to the next level. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take a closer look at your decor and objects at home and see how styling them can transform a room from simply looking nice to feeling complete. Thank you for joining my atelier. Don't forget to grab the Live by Design workshop link in the show notes, and there's the quiz as well. And if this resonated with you, please share the episode or give it a review. And I'll see you in the next episode.